Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm going to be talking quickly. I have a few slides here to lead you off into discussions about what we're doing at DWR about these issues. And as you heard, a lot of your water supply comes from the State Water Project, which my department operates. We built the State Water Project back in the 60s, and this next component that we're talking about is to help provide reliability. A lot of water agencies are in the middle of doing seismic reliability projects. As a water agency for California, we're no different. Because the fact that the water comes through the delta, we have some major issues that we have to deal with. There's the islands that are dropping in height. Earthquakes could wipe out the whole levee system in the delta, making all your water salty, so we wouldn't be able to deliver it to you. Climate change is increasing the height of the water in the delta. Species are declining. I've spent the last week trying to figure out what to do about smelt, because this year we're seeing a large number of smelt being taken at the pumps, so we have to do something about that, reducing deliveries to you all and other people up and down the state. And then lastly, related to that, we don't really know what's coming down the road in terms of new species that might be a problem. This just shows you which islands in the delta are below sea level, and they range from the green ones, which are 5 feet down to the purple ones 5 feet down to the green ones that are 30 feet down, and I don't know if this, here we go. And so water comes from the Sacramento River down through the Delta Cross Channel, which is up here, and then it flows down through this part of the delta and comes down to the pump stations, which are down here. And so what that means is that all of these levees that are between where it starts in the Sacramento River and where it comes down to the pump station are very critical for your water supply. They're also old levees that were built out of the silt that was dredged out of the channels, so they're not very stable. So what are we doing about that? Well, one of the issues that we deal with is that the fish in the delta have suffered tremendously. If you look at various charts, you can see that the number of fish has dropped in population significantly over the past 10 to 20 to 30 years. So we need to do large-scale restoration to help provide benefits to those fisheries. But we also need to do a reliable water delivery system to go from the north part of the delta to the south part of the delta. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about 2 tunnels right now going under the delta. Originally, back in the 80s, we were talking about a canal that would go around the delta, but because of sea level rise and other issues that we're trying to deal with, we want to make sure that that's going to survive the earthquake that is going to be coming. So there are 22 conservation measures in this whole plan. The Bay Delta Conservation Plan is a habitat conservation plan under the Endangered Species Act, so that's why it's called that. But it's composed of different conservation measures, including conveyance, habitat restoration, dealing with other stressors like mercury and so on. And we have 200 biological goals and objectives. And you'll be able to see this document in your hot little hands in about a month. So we did get a letter from the Water Authority and some other entities saying, we have some concerns about this plan. We don't really know about the cost. Can you tell us what the answers are? It'll all be out shortly. So our goal in the long term, 50 years, is 100,000 acres of habitat restored. In the next 15 years, and this is one of my current responsibilities, is to get the process going to get 30,000 acres of habitat restored. And then the breakdown there shows what we're looking at. Tidal habitat, floodplains. When the delta was reclaimed by the reclamation districts and boards, what that meant was they filled in the wetlands, they diked off the channels, and so what used to be very productive wetlands is now very productive farmland. So we need to convert that back to fish. Now, you're going to hear tonight about the portfolio proposal. We've received a copy of it. And we are actually analyzing various components of it. It's a mix of things that aren't strictly engineering solutions or habitat restoration. But I can guarantee you that the 3,000 cubic foot per second tunnel option is covered in the BDCP EIR EIS. So people are worried about it being an alternative. It will be in there. That tunnel option will be there. We're doing economic calculations about what the cost benefit is. One of the components of the BDCP that will be coming out is a cost benefit analysis for a number of different alternatives, including the 3,000 CFS tunnel. And so it'll be in Chapter 9 of the plan as well as in accompanying documents. And then we've been investing over the past 3 bond measures in significant amounts of alternative water supplies So we will continue to do that. Your desalination plant down here and the one I was working on in Marin County are candidates for those types of subsidies. Some of the issues that we have with the portfolio proposal, and like Chair Warnham said, we're having a dialogue, and we'll continue to have a dialogue with all the interested parties, particularly those who are proposing this. But one of the things that we're concerned about is that it only proposes 40,000 acres of restoration, and instead of the 100,000 that we're proposing, we think the fish need more than that. And it doesn't, most importantly, provide the seismic stability that we need for water supplies being delivered through the delta. It's only 3,000 CFS. If we had had the tunnel in place over the past few weeks, past month, we wouldn't have seen San Luis Reservoir drop to half full. We would have been able to deliver 700,000 acre-feet of water more than we've been able to do because we've had to cut back pumping because of the smelt. So if we had a different intake up on the north part of the delta, we wouldn't be suffering those constraints, and we'd be able to provide reliable water. And that doesn't even talk about what happens in the case of an earthquake. And then lastly, the funding for the local water supply alternatives is not identified in the plan. We do have a financing portion of our Bay Delta Conservation Plan, which will delineate in detail where the funds will come from.